Welcome to the Legacy Podcast, making our Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs) more famous for action. The global gap in energy is a story of two extremes. On one side, we have energy excess, where we waste power on an invisible scale. On the other hand, we have energy poverty, where more than 500 million people still live in the dark, unable to refrigerate their food or study after sunset. On the Legacy Podcast, the United Nations Mama is letting you know that affordable and clean energy is the oxygen of development. The global gap in energy is also found in the friction between price and planet. For too long, we have been told we must choose either energy is cheap and dirty, that is, for example, coal or oil, or it is clean and expensive. Letting you know today that you must dismantle this binary. Sustainable energy must be both a bargain and a blessing. I am your host, United Nations Mama, and I'm so glad you are here. Today's legacy will be to talk about the 7th Sustainable Development Goal, the affordable and clean energy goal. For you to grab your knowledge, discover your role, and do your action. Now, here is the thing. You cannot have a modern hospital or a digital classroom or a sustainable factory without power. The Sustainable Development Goal 7, affordable and clean energy, sets in when you think the only way to have power is to burn the planet. I mean, your action paralysis towards this goal or your awareness action gap. What makes you think is not really much important to act towards it. Localizing the Sustainable Development Goal 7 means shifting from being just a power consumer to an energy citizen. It's about moving toward a world where energy is decentralized, decarbonized, and democratic. It's about making sure the spark of our future doesn't come at the cost of the future itself. Yes, affordable and clean energy is that spark that powers every other goal. To close your awareness action gap towards the affordable and clean energy, you must understand that this particular sustainable development goal is not just about the solar panels, it's about strategies to power the planet. It's not the idea that energy is just a background utility that you pay for weekly or monthly. Then again, we often get blinded by the technology of a solar panel and forget that if the panel is made using slave labor or if the electricity it produces is too expensive for a working class family, it is not truly sustainable. On the Legacy Podcast, United Nations Mama is teaching you that affordability is about equity and cleanliness. And cleanliness is about integrity. Affordability is about equity and cleanliness is about integrity. What makes it clean? Clean does not just mean low carbon. To be truly clean, energy must have a minimal life cycle impact. That is, it comes from the infinite flows, like the natural resources like the sun, the wind, the tide, rather than a a finite flow like the fossil fuels. Also, what makes it clean? The process. It is not processed to poison the air we breathe in or the waters we take in or use. What also makes it clean? The afterlife. A solar panel that ends up in a toxic landfill in 20 years is not clean. True cleanliness requires circular energy, where batteries and panels are recycled and reused. This is where the sustainability comes in, and also where the cleanliness is noted. We cannot say the energy we use is clean, whereby when we dispose it, it finds its way back to a land, or a sea, or just somewhere that is not just so good. When we talk about energy being clean, it's about the fact that what we are using, we can recycle it again and again and again and again to use it just endlessly, literally. What makes it affordable? What makes energy affordable? Affordability is a universal access. That is in the talk of the universal access. One, the cost of living. Energy shouldn't take up to 30% of a family's income. True affordability happens when we move, or when you can move from paying for fuel, which always fluctuates in price, to investing in technology. The sun and wind are free. You only pay for the equipment once. That is, energy should not be something a family has to keep on thinking through every month, every week, on how to afford to pay to have it. Can't we just have it once and have it? Also, what makes it affordable? The hidden cost. For example, the fossil fuels seem cheap only because we don't pay for the asthma, the crop failures, or the flood damage they cause. Affordability is also about the total cost to humanity itself. So not because you may not be going through all this mentioned there of the damages these fossil fuels cause, or the byproducts, or whatever is related to it, which is always harmful to the one organ or the other in the body, shouldn't mean you should not care. In fact, one way or the other, you have breathed it in, you have taken it in, and as yet every day we live as if all this does not matter. In fact, we end up being hospitalized for one problem or the other that comes from this. But if we don't go to the root problem and correct it, it's almost impossible that the bright future we are hoping for may never come, especially when our health are in danger or endangered. So, let's move ahead to the official targets created by the United Nations, breaking down the United Nations global footprint for the affordable and clean energy sustainable development goal. So this can also help to solve your action paralysis towards the affordable and clean energy goal. You must understand what the United Nations actually mean when they say they want to make everyone living in the world able to experience this affordable and clean energy. Energy that is both affordable and clean. 0% dangerous to their health. Target 7.1 is about universal access to energy services. The United Nations wants to make sure that everyone has affordable, reliable, and modern energy. This includes clean cooking, moving billions of people away from wood and charcoal fires that cause um, deadly indoor air pollution and even affect our organs on a long-term use. Target 7.2 is about the increasing the global share of renewable energy, substantially increasing the percentage of the world's energy mix that comes from the sun, the wind, water, and heat from the earth. Target 7.3 is about doubling the global rate of improvement in energy efficiency. This means that, okay, let's put it like this. This is the first floor. Before we build new power plants, we must stop wasting what we already have. It's about doing more work with less. Target 7.8 is about promoting access to research, tech, and investment, international cooperation to facilitate access to clean energy research and technology, including advanced and cleaner fossil fuel technology. Without research, we will not discover more, that we actually need more, or that there is more to what we already have, which can improve our standard of living in a very good way. Without the technology itself, we will struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle in every way. And without investment to make this possible in every corner of the world, in every nation, whether private or public enterprises, our major issue is going to be the lack of finance. It's going to be the order of the day. So investment is very important. That is why you hearing me today, whether you are a public personality, a private personality, look for where you can put in your finances in order to promote affordable and clean energy. These investments are needed. Don't conclude that everything is all right. Maybe because you are all right or doing well enough. In any way you can, you should contribute on a local scale, global scale, or on a regional scale. This is one of the major reasons the legacy podcast is existing. To open your eyes that you can contribute to these goals in any way, whether from your household habits that you start to change, that even when you are changing it, you are changing yourself, you are changing your pattern or character of living for good. And also when others start to see you, they start to change. People change easily when they see others. The same way it looks like when they say bad people or bad experiences change good people. Good experiences, good characters can also change someone or transform them to see a better way they could act and still make things much, much better. Also, is here to let you know, T-Up is here to let you know that you can also contribute on a regional scale, on a global scale. Don't overlook that your community, that you know that you have the capacity to help them. It's a different story when you don't have the capacity. You don't force yourself. You have to build yourself first. Calm down, build yourself first, because you can only give out what you have. You can only help when you have helped yourself. So, target 7.B is about the expand and upgrade of energy services for developing countries. specifically about building the infrastructures needed for modern energy in the world least developed nations or underdeveloped nations. That is, when we talk about infrastructures, we're talking about the power plants, storage, the grids, and so much more. So you may be asking, why is the affordable and clean energy even important to me? It's important to every single person, irrespective of your passion, irrespective of your industry. This is one of the major reasons why I personally love the global good, because it's something that everybody can be part of. It's not something that you point and say, oh, I'm of this religion, I'm of this race, I'm of this age, I can't do this, I'm not contributing. It's something that whether you even know it or not, you're already contributing. Now, the only difference is that you may not have the knowledge, or you may not know that you are actually already working towards this goal. Now, imagine when you now know and you are intentionally taking action. And so many people around the world, in their millions, from their household, in their companies or corporations or enterprises, they are making the global goals come true. You'll see that the world will not remain the same. It will touch every corner of the world. So you need to discover your role for you to do your action. And what we are doing here today by hearing the Legacy podcast today on the affordable and clean energy is the action of you trying to discover, grab your knowledge, or then now from there discover what you think you should start doing. For the architect or engineer, your role is to design buildings that stay cool or warm naturally, or uses energy efficient methods to do this. For the fashion worker, you must ensure the clean energy your factory uses isn't being produced by solar components just through forced labor or exploitation. If you're a tech founder, you can design a tech or something that can detect whether an energy is truly clean and the source of it. If you are a fashion worker or student, um, the energy used in textile mills and garment factories is often the largest part of a brand's carbon footprint. So your role should be to source from factories powered by on-site renewables. So let's move ahead to the case study for this legacy. Solar sister from sub-Sahara Africa. The problem. What was the problem? Millions of women in rural Africa rely on kerosene lamps, which are expensive, provide poor light, and can cause respiratory diseases. These women, they were literally energy poor. What was the solution? Solar Sister created a last mile distribution model. They recruited local women as entrepreneurs, training them to sell solar lanterns and clean cook stoves to their own communities. Now, what was the result? First, there was economic empowerment. Over 10,000 women became entrepreneurs, earning an income while bringing light to their villages or communities. Health and education was improved. Children could study longer, and indoor air pollution was literally eliminated. So what is the lesson for you? Energy equality is a gender multiplier. When you bring clean energy to a woman, you are bringing it to an entire community's economy. See what these women did, how they transformed both their lives and the lives of the community. All of the case studies taken on the Legacy podcast is the records are always online. Just search the case study heading, then you see you'll be marveled at your discovery. You even let to wonder, oh, has this actually happened, or this has actually been happening? Where were you? Or some stuff like that. But just know that one way or the other, lives are being changed around the world. So you have to be part of those changing lives, whether you are advocating or you are doing your action locally, globally, or regionally. Let's move ahead to your actions. Actions you can take, household habits that can eventually become your professional habits. Whether in your house, you can take them for your companies, you can initiate them all towards the affordable and clean energy goal. If you are not in the room, your lights should not be either. Turn off your lights, switch them off, unplug chargers and appliances when not in use. They can draw phantom powers and probably even damage your device or appliances on a long or short run, depending on the kind of one you are using and its inbuilt features. Replace your three most used incandescent bulbs with LEDs today. Does the coils behind your fridge? It makes them run more efficiently. Run your heavy appliances. Let me say something like your washing machines or dryers during off peak hours. That is when electricity is cheapest and often cleaner. You know, there are sometimes you notice that the power that was brought is acting somehow or is not stable. Don't try to use some of these equipment at that point. You can also use smart power strips that automatically cut power to devices on standby, saving up to 10% of your monthly bill. Spend 30 minutes researching your local government or nation's policy on both clean energy and affordable, and it being affordable or available to you. Try not to open your oven doors when you just finish baking or doing whatever you're doing. Leave them open on that high temperature. You can start to use a fan instead of AC for as long as possible. Yes, to save your energy and so. Although there are some ACs that actually energy saving. Wash your clothes in cold water. 90% of a washer's energy goes to heating water. So try to make it a habit to soak up your clothes in cold or warm water. Update your software to newer versions, because most of these newer versions are often optimized for battery efficiency. If your freezer has ice buildup, defrost it. Ice can make the freezer itself, or the let's just say something like the motor work harder, like the motor of the freezer work extra harder. So learn to allow it to cool or defreeze. Only boil the exact amount of water you need for your cup or for your food or for you want to take it to shower. You can also always set your computers, your laptops to power saving mode. Learn to get used of natural light also. Open your curtains, your windows. Not every time you're always soaking yourself up in AC, in fans. Receive natural breeze and natural sun and all of that. Always lower the brightness of your TV or your computers or your phones. Also, when you are cooking, put a lid on the pot to trap heat and save some percentage of your energy. Means some of you that use electric cooker and so on, or even if it's normal gas cooker, you can always cover your pot so that the food will maximize the energy the heat is producing, so it can cook well and avoid wasting so much of the heat to the atmosphere. You can also install a programmable thermostat to automate your savings, your energy savings. If you use gas, look into induction. Is 90% efficient compared to 40% for gas. Get a quote for solar panels, even if you are not ready to buy them yet. That is solar research. Research into solar panels, what they are about, how efficient they are, and how it lasts, the installation processes, and how much it can last for you, for the amount of things you can use it to do or it can carry. Even if you don't have the money yet, just get yourself ready to switch into a smart use. So that it's not when you have the money, maybe you can just get too lazy to even start finding a vendor, or too busy. So but if you start now, even if you don't have the finance yet, to start researching, gaining your knowledge, looking into vendors that you can trust for a reliable one, it will avoid so many mistakes you rush in to make when you have the money and have gotten so busy and your mind is not really on it. Can end up even with fake solar panels and unexperienced um um let's say technicians also. Advocate for affordable and clean energy wherever um you hear of it or whatever sounds like it. Always also advocate for run of the river hydro projects rather than those giant dams that always destroy local ecosystem. That is, support local hydro low impact um, low impact initiatives affordable and clean energy or that protect the ecosystem of water or land. If you have solar, offer to charge your neighbor's devices during a power outage. Don't be stingy. Share, share, share. Especially when they're having a power outage issue, or maybe something like their transformer spoiled, or they just can't afford it at the time. Volunteer to charge all their stuff and help them in any way you can. You can also start to host parties or gatherings. Cooking for many is more energy efficient than cooking for just one. Plant a tree on your home for natural summer shade. Join a community um, that is providing this affordable or is looking into this affordable and clean energy in any way. So join one and be part of the change makers. If you have induction, that's induction cookwares, ensure your pots are perfectly flat for maximum contact. Install motion sensor lights in your hallways or bathrooms that automatically shines when you walk in, so you don't have to be um tapping your hand or everywhere to look for the switches and all of that. This is for people that can afford it. But even if you can't afford it now, you can look into getting your next house equipped with that. Always try to donate to non-governmental organizations or initiatives supporting families with affordable and clean energy, or also compelling the government to fix um, the electricity in a particular village or community. They all deserve it. Open windows at night and you can also close them in the morning to trap cool air. Use rugs on hard floors to help insulate and keep your rooms warmer. Start a battery recycling bin in your neighborhood, which you can also um, give out to companies or people who are interested for recycling purposes. Don't just throw them out on the streets or into the sea. Also, you can learn to start reflecting, calculating how much money you have saved this month or how much energy you have saved when you start to do these actions in a month or in a week time, how much was changed and how good you feel. Ensure your investment or you are not investing in fossil fuel expansion. You should be looking into affordable energy, renewable energy, more efficient, clean energy, not from the past we want to come out from, like the stoves, the firewoods, and fossil fuels. Support legislation for renewable energy mandates in your region, in your country, your nation. Support this advocacy or these policies in any way you can, whether by your opinions, whether by your position, or whether by expanding it with your finances or investing it. Also support NGOs that build solar microgrids in unelectrified zones, that is zones that or communities or villages or regions where power is still something that is begged for or not experienced every day. Yes, even in this 21st century, there are some communities still in darkness because I don't know if the governments or the rulers or the leaders are feeling like they don't deserve it. But they all deserve it. We all deserve this affordable, clean energy that is efficient and renewable. Move your home away from you can decide to start electrifying anything. You can move away from the heating, from the cooking, from the drying. Let everything be generated through electricity. The electric cookers, the electric dryers, the electric heaters, than all the boiling and boilings that always brings up heat and messes up the whole atmosphere, and so much more. Also, you can start to invest in deep technology companies working on so many of things related to this affordable and clean energy, whether for a long duration or for a short duration. You can first fund a student degree in renewable energy engineering. This is so much important because this is the future, and more into more of this world renewable energy is the future itself. So you can decide to sponsor or mentor a student. If you're already in the field, fine. If you're not in the field, support a student going into renewable energy engineering or other related courses. Advocate for the use of green hydrogen in heavy industry like the steel or shipping. Support the right to energy as a basic human right. It is not something we should look at as a privilege, or some people deserve to have it, some people don't deserve to have it. How? Support these the target 7.5 that we mentioned by advocating for international power sharing, the cross-border grid. No nation should just personalize their own power generation. Yes, they have the right to, but in a diplomatic or collaborative environment, this is not really encouraged. Every nation should share to their neighboring nations in any way they can, or help nations afar off to stabilize in this future we are all working towards in the renewable energy direction. You can start to support companies that recycle EV batteries into so many other things. Advocate for solar panels on top of all public parking lots, or even for households, like a massive distribution to citizens and so on, where they just have to pay for it in a little way. You can advocate for your government to remove or move subsidies from oil to renewables. Yes, or for both of them to work. They are so good if both of them is working. Both oils and also renewables, but renewables more important for the subsidies to be, because the future is looking like it's gonna be all about this renewable energy, and in every way it is more efficient. It causes less harm to your systems or organs, and so many much benefits. Support laws that makes it easier to repair electronics. That electronic waste reform. You can also start to advocate for a fair price on carbon to accelerate the clean transition. If you work in a large company, push for power purchase agreement to fund the construction of a new wind farm. Renewable energy generation, whether from wind, from the sun, and so on. You can also try to move your personal bank account to an institution that does not fund uh, or is not into gas or oil exploration. I don't know how you know that, but if that's possible, fine. Support laws that require energy companies to disclose their carbon intensity on every monthly bill. Support taxes or bonds that fund a smart grid. The only way to make clean energy affordable for everyone is through a smart grid. You can teach or share this legacy today about the affordable and clean energy to someone else. Please do, because this topic of affordable and clean energy is for everyone. In fact, it is so broad. Every sustainable development goal can be made to be so simple, and also is also very broad because there are just so many things involved. But you should not look at the broadness. You should look into the simple actions the legacy podcast gives to you. Anyone that comes to your ear, you know exactly what sounds like your level or what you can start to do immediately. There are some that may sound like, oh, they are too big for you, or you have not reached that sort of level. It's okay, but it is also good enough that you have the knowledge so that when the opportunity comes, you will take your action immediately or with immediate effect. Always try to live, or your ultimate action should live with the awareness that everyone is a choice. Be the light. Don't waste energy, and don't be part of those who are still advocating for energy that burns your home down before you can see the benefits, or that damages your organs before you can experience the benefits. Teach your team or your students that clean is a standard of quality and affordable is a standard of justice. Share this legacy, affordable and clean energy from the Legacy Podcast to someone else. Your awareness action gap in energy closes when you realize that the cheapest energy is the energy you never use. Sustainable Development Goal 7 is about the power of human ingenuity to replace the fire of the past with the flow of the future. Until the United Nations Normal have made you believe that when you democratize energy, you democratize opportunity. When every child has the energy efficient lamp to study, and even factories runs on the wind, on the sun, we are not just saving the planet, we are unleashing even both human potential. It's not enough for the world to be powered, it must be empowered. Sustainable Development Goal 7, affordable and clean energy, is a promise that the light of the future will not cast a shadow on the people or on the planet. You have now grabbed your knowledge. You have now discovered your role. Now go out and do your action. Because the most powerful energy in the world is the one that everyone can afford to use and everyone can afford to breathe through. And because the future, your future, our future can only be bright if we power it together. Stay connected to the Legacy Podcast, CLP.